For 6 years, she fostered cats for the local shelter and helped 47 of them find permanent homes. Every adoption had always worked, until one gray cat. He came back again and again, and the reason why would turn her world upside down. Eliza Avery pulls her car into the driveway. Her coffee is already cold. She did not sleep well last night. The shelter called at midnight with an emergency intake, a box of kittens found behind a gas station. She took 2 of them home and fed them every 3 hours through the night. Now her eyes burn and her back aches. She steps out of the car and grabs the grocery bag from the passenger seat. Then she sees it, a shape on the front porch. Gray fur, green eyes. A cat sitting perfectly still beside her welcome mat, staring at her like he has been waiting all night. "No," Eliza whispers. "No, no, no." The cat does not move. He just watches her with calm, steady eyes. His name is Louie. She gave him that name herself. The name came from an old song she loved. Somehow this name felt warm and friendly, just like the cat. Weeks ago, she placed him with a lovely family on the other side of town. A warm home with soft furniture and everything a cat could want. But Louie is not at that house. He is here, on her porch, miles from where he should be. "How did you even get here?" Eliza breathes. Louie meows once, almost like an answer. Before we go on with the story, a quick like and subscribe help this channel continue sharing new stories. What happened next surprised everyone. Eliza is not a cat lady. She hates that term. She is a foster volunteer for an animal shelter in the small town. She has done this work for 6 years. 6 years of sleepless nights and tearful goodbyes, of cleaning litter boxes and treating infections. 6 years of falling in love with animals she cannot keep. The system works like this. The shelter rescues cats from the streets, from abusive homes, from dumpsters and drain pipes, and worse. But the shelter is small, 20 kennels, that is all. When those kennels fill up, the cats have nowhere to go. That is where Eliza comes in. She takes cats into her home, nurses them back to health, and photographs them. She posts those photos on social media. People respond and apply to adopt. The shelter runs background checks. If everything looks good, the cat goes to its new family. Over 6 years, Eliza has placed 47 cats. 47 animals who found permanent, loving homes because of her. Every single placement worked. Every single family was happy. Every single cat thrived. Until Louie. She found him 8 months ago. A shelter worker named Della called her on a Tuesday afternoon. "We have a gray male, about 2 years old, found living under a collapsed shed. He is skinny but healthy, no aggression at all." Eliza drove to the shelter that evening. She walked into the intake room, and there he was. A medium-sized gray cat with fur the color of river stones. His eyes were pale green, almost luminous. He sat in his kennel with perfect posture and studying her face with unsettling intelligence. "Hey, buddy," Eliza said softly. She opened the kennel door and extended her hand. Most shelter cats flinch and back away. But Louie walked straight to her, pressed his head against her palm, and then climbed into her arms like he had done it 1,000 times before. Della laughed. "Well, that is a first." During driving at her home, he just sat on the passenger seat and stared through the windshield, calm and composed, like he knew exactly where they were going. At home, Louie adapted instantly. He used the litter box within minutes. He ate his food without hesitation. Then he found Eliza on the couch, jumped up beside her, curled into her side. "You are a good one," she told him. "Someone is going to love you." She photographed him the next morning. Louie was photogenic. His gray fur caught the light beautifully. His green eyes looked like polished jade. She posted the photos on the shelter's social media page. The caption read, "Meet Louie, 2 years old, gentle, calm, and ready for his forever home." Within 24 hours, the post had over 200 shares. 7 families applied to adopt him. The shelter was overwhelmed. Della called Eliza, laughing. "Everyone wants this cat. What did you do to these photos?" "Nothing," Eliza said. "He is just that beautiful." The shelter screened the applicants carefully and selected the Pruitt family. Marcus and June Pruitt, a couple in their 40s with no children, living in a quiet home. Eliza drove Louis to the Pruitt house on a Saturday morning. She carried him inside in his travel crate. The house smelled like cinnamon candles and classical music played softly from a speaker. June had set up a cat bed near the fireplace, a scratching post, and new toys. Everything was perfect. Eliza opened the crate. Louis stepped out slowly and looked around the living room, then turned and looked directly at Eliza. His eyes held something she could not name. Confusion? Fear? "He will be fine," June said warmly. "We will take wonderful care of him." Eliza knelt down, scratched behind Louis's ears one last time. "Be good," she whispered. "This is your home now." She stood up, walked to the door, and did not look back. That was the hardest part. It was always the hardest part. But she had done this 47 times. She knew the routine. Feel the pain, then let it go. The cat is better off. That is what matters. For exactly 11 days, everything seemed fine. June texted her photos. Louis sleeping by the fire. Louis playing with a feather toy. Louis sitting on Marcus's lap during movie night. Normal, happy cat behavior. Then came the call. "Eliza, it is June. Something happened." Eliza gripped the phone tighter. "What is wrong?" "He escaped. This morning. Marcus opened the back door to get the mail. Louis shot out like a bullet. We have never seen anything like it. He was so calm, so gentle. Then suddenly he just bolted." Eliza's stomach dropped. "How long ago?" "About 3 hours. We have searched the whole neighborhood. Nothing." "Call the shelter," Eliza said. "He has a microchip. If anyone finds him, they can scan it." The shelter activated the microchip alert, and volunteers spread the word online. 2 days passed. June called every morning. Her voice sounded smaller each time. "Still nothing." Eliza barely slept. She checked the shelter's lost pet database every hour, refreshed her email obsessively, paced her kitchen at midnight. On the 3rd morning, her phone rang. It was Della from the shelter. "Eliza, someone found him. A jogger. She scanned his chip at a vet clinic." "Where?" Della paused. "On Meadow Lane, about 2 blocks from your house." Eliza went silent. Louis had traveled over 4 miles through woods and neighborhoods he had never seen, and he ended up 2 blocks from Eliza's front door. "That is impossible," she said. "The chip confirmed it. It is him." Eliza picked Louis up from the vet clinic that afternoon. He was dirty, with paws raw and blistered from walking on asphalt. But when he saw her, he came straight to her and pressed against her legs. "You silly cat," she murmured. "What were you thinking?" The shelter returned Louis to the Pruitts. The family was relieved. June held him against her chest and cried, and Marcus reinforced the doors, added screen barriers, and made sure every window was secure. It did not matter. 2 weeks later, Louis escaped again, this time through a bathroom window that Marcus forgot to latch. Gone in seconds, silent as smoke. This time the search took 5 days. Eliza found him sitting on her front porch, right beside the door. He was skinnier than before and limping slightly, but alive. June Pruitt called Eliza that evening. Her voice was heavy with sadness. "We love him," June said. "We really do. But something is wrong. He is not happy here. He paces all night. He does not play. It is like living with a ghost." "Maybe he needs more time," Eliza said. June paused. "We are not the right family for him. I do not know who is, but it is not us." Eliza felt a knot tighten in her chest. A perfect home and 2 escapes. What was wrong with this cat? The shelter took Louis back. Della processed the return with a heavy sigh. "It makes no sense," Eliza said. "He is the gentlest cat I have ever fostered. The Pruitts did everything right, and he still ran. Want to take him back while we figure this out?" Eliza shook her head. She already had 2 foster kittens at home and a senior cat recovering from surgery. There was simply no room. "He will have to stay here for now. Just find him the right family this time." Louis went back into kennel number 4, the same kennel where Eliza had first met him. He sat in the corner with his paws tucked beneath him and stared at the door. Eliza visited him twice that week. She told herself it was routine. She visited all the shelter cats, but she lingered at his kennel longer than the others, talked to him through the bars. "We are going to find you a home," she told him. "A real one this time." Louis blinked at her slowly and did not look convinced. Finding a second family took almost a month. The shelter was careful this time. They wanted someone experienced with difficult cats, someone with a secure home and plenty of patience. They chose Lionel Bellamy, a retired school teacher living alone on the far edge of the county, about 8 miles away. It was the farthest placement the shelter had ever arranged. Lionel had owned cats his entire life, and his house was practically a fortress. "This one will work," Della said. "He is experienced, and the distance should help." If Louis was following some kind of scent trail before, 8 miles ought to break it. The handoff to Lionel happened on a cold December morning. Eliza drove Louis there herself, even though it was not her job. She carried him inside in his travel crate. The house was warm and cozy, with cat trees in every room, soft beds, and even a fish tank. The perfect cat paradise. Louis showed no interest. He sat in his carrier and refused to come out. When Eliza finally lifted him out, he went rigid, every muscle in his body locked tight. "He is nervous," Lionel said gently. "It is normal. Give him a few days." Eliza nodded and set Louis down on the living room carpet. He pressed himself flat against the floor with his ears pinned back and his tail tucked beneath his body. This was wrong. Louis never acted like this. He was the calmest cat she had ever known, confident and fearless. But right now he looked terrified. "I should go," Eliza said. Her voice cracked. "Before this gets harder." She opened the door, stepped outside, and closed it behind her. Louis's cry followed her all the way to the car. She sat in the driver's seat for 10 minutes, crying silently, her hands shaking on the wheel. "This is what you do," she whispered. "You save them and let them go. That is the job." People always ask her the same question. How do you let them go? The answer is simple, practical. Her house can hold 3 foster cats at a time. If she keeps one, that's one fewer place for a cat that needs help. And it's not just about space. Cats are territorial. A permanent cat in the house would make it much harder to bring new ones in. So she made herself a rule. She does not keep them. Ever. She loves them, heals them, and finds them families. Then she says goodbye. That is the deal. She drove home. 2 kittens and a senior cat were waiting for her. For 9 days, Lionel sent updates. They were not encouraging. Louis refused to eat for the first 3 days. On the 4th day, he ate a small amount. By the 6th day, he was eating normally, but he was not himself. "He sits by the front door all day," Lionel reported. "Just stares at it. Will not play, will not explore the catio. He is not aggressive, just absent, like his mind is somewhere else." "Give him time," Eliza said. On the 9th night, Lionel called at 11 p.m. His voice was shaking. "He is gone." "What?" "I opened the door for just a second, and he slipped out before I even realized what happened. By the time I ran outside, he was already gone." Eliza felt the world tilt beneath her. Temperatures were dropping below freezing at night. Louis would not survive out there. Not for long. The microchip alert went out immediately. Days passed with no sighting and no signal. Eliza drove the route 4 times, stopping at every farm and every house with a porch light on, showing Louis's photo to anyone who would look. "Have you seen this cat? Gray fur, green eyes. please. Nothing but headshakes and sorry looks. A week passed, then 10 days, then 2 weeks. The shelter listed him as missing, presumed lost. Della called Eliza with the update. Her voice was gentle but final. I am so sorry, Eliza. At this point, with the weather, do not say it. We have to be realistic.
Eliza hung up and stood in her kitchen. She had failed him. She placed him twice. He escaped 3 times. 3 times he tried to tell her something, and 3 times she did not listen. That night she could not sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling. At 2 a.m. she got up, went to the kitchen, made tea she would not drink, and sat at the table in the dark. Then she heard it. A sound so faint she almost missed it. A scratching at the front door, quiet and deliberate and persistent. Her heart stopped. She stood up slowly. The scratching continued. She walked to the front door with trembling hands. And there he was. Louis sat on the welcome mat. His fur was matted and filthy. He smelled like mud and pine needles and frozen earth. But his eyes? They looked up at her with absolute certainty. No confusion, just the steady gaze of a creature who had fought through hell to get exactly where he belonged. Eliza sank to her knees and gathered him in her arms. He was so light. She could feel every rib beneath his matted fur. But he was warm and breathing and alive. You came back, she sobbed. You came back. Again. Louis pressed his face into her neck, and his cracked paws kneaded her shoulder. She carried him inside, cleaned his wounds, fed him of wet food, and wrapped him in blanket. He fell asleep in her lap within minutes, exhausted, battered, but home. She called the vet first thing in the morning. Dr. Callahan examined Louis thoroughly. The diagnosis was grim, but hopeful. Mild respiratory infection, probably from exposure. Will he be okay? Physically? Yes. With rest and care, he will recover fully. Dr. Callahan paused. Eliza, how far did he travel this time? 8 miles, through open country, in December. The vet shook her head slowly. In 30 years of practice, I have never seen anything like this. Cats have homing instincts, sure, but this cat was placed with 2 different families. He escaped 3 times, and every single time he ended up in the same place. She called Della at the shelter. He is back. Back at Lionel's? Back at my house. Dead silence on the other end. Della? I heard you. I just do not have words. I do not want to place him again. Eliza looked at Louis. He was asleep on his spot on the couch with his bandaged paws tucked under his chin and the blanket wrapped around his thin body. Even in sleep, his face looked peaceful and content. He was never temporary, Eliza said. Her voice broke on the last word. I kept telling myself he was. I kept telling myself I was just the middle step, the bridge between lost and found. But he was not lost. He found me 8 months ago, and he has been trying to tell me ever since. Della was quiet for a moment. You know what this means for your fostering? I know. If I keep him, I have less space for fosters. That is not what I meant. Della's voice softened. I meant that in 6 years and 47 cats, you never let yourself keep one. You gave every single piece of your heart away, over and over. You deserve to keep one piece for yourself. Eliza could not speak. The tears came hard and fast, but they were not sad tears. They were relief, pure, overwhelming relief, the kind you feel when you finally stop fighting something you wanted all along. The shelter processed the adoption the next day. Eliza signed the papers. It was the same form she had helped 47 other families fill out, but this time, her name was in the owner field. She framed the adoption certificate and hung it in the hallway. Louis' official document, his proof of permanence. He never tried to escape again. There was nowhere left to go. He had arrived. After adoption, Eliza did something unexpected. She stopped fostering entirely. But she did not stop helping. She launched a fundraiser and told Louie's story online. Donations poured in, and local businesses offered support. Within several months, Eliza helped the shelter lease a proper building, twice the size of the old one, with 46 kennels instead of 20. She did not need to open her home anymore. Della called her the day the new shelter held its first adoption event. 5 cats found families that single weekend. "You know what is funny?" Della said. "You spent 6 years saving cats one at a time. Then one stubborn gray cat forced you to stop. And now, you are saving more than ever." Eliza looked at Louie, asleep in his spot on the couch. 47 cats. She saved them one by one. And in the end, it was the 48th who saved her. Some things find you before you are ready. The bravest thing you can do is stop sending them away. Thank you for watching this story. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me continue sharing stories you will love.